It felt like the humans had arrived. It felt like living science fiction. People were disappearing in corners to have their own little private moments so they wouldn't get busted, being seen losing it in front of their colleagues. It was an accomplishment, and even at the time it felt like an accomplishment that should have been celebrated with ticker tape parades in every major city across the US and Europe, and yet it saw news for one day and it disappeared out of sight. So this is, to me, a sad commentary on the state of our culture, and I think is something that needs to be fixed. And I'm going to talk to Peter later about fixing this problem. Anyway, I fear I'm probably running out of time here, but let me continue. So the probe descended for 2.5 hours through the atmosphere. It measured pressure, it measured temperature, it measured transparency of the atmosphere. It took panoramic images on the way down. It had a camera, and it spun as it descended, so it took panoramic images. And it contained a penetrometer, a device that's not unlike this pointer here, that stuck out of the bottom of the probe like this. And when it landed, it measured the characteristics, the mechanical properties of the material that it landed in. So it acquired an immense amount of data on the way down. Scientists are still busy trying to understand it all. But I'm an imaging scientist. I am prejudiced, but I would say that pictures always have the greatest impact, and it is difficult to describe what it was like to see the pictures returned by the Huygens probe for the first time. This gives you a sense of the panorama that the probe saw as it descended. Hard to make it out here, but this was a series of pictures, especially this region here, which was the most mind-blowing of all. And again, it's difficult for me to describe what it felt like to see this. I personally felt like someone had hit me over the head with a frying pan, and I was incoherent and stunned for hours later because we had seen an unambiguous signature of a dendritic drainage pattern on the surface of another body. This was something that just told us immediately something had flowed on the surface of Titan. And so we knew that many of the ideas that scientists had developed about what the surface of Titan would look like, in fact, were probably correct. And I'm going to jump to the punch here and just tell you what we've come to learn, because I don't have much time. But here is what we think is a shoreline, okay? And it is not liquid that we have here, because the probe, when it landed, measured something that had the mechanical properties of wet sand. Okay, it didn't land in an open fluid. In fact, we haven't seen anywhere on the surface of Titan yet bodies of open fluid, even though some predictions were that we would, because there'd be methane